You unlock this door with the key of imagination. Beyond it is another dimension. A dimension of sound. A dimension of sight. A dimension of mind. You're moving into a land of both shadow and substance, of things and ideas. You've just crossed over into the Sabre Zone.
Hi folks, welcome to the Sabre Zone. This is a video on the channel that discusses what you had to say. And I'm going to show you how you said it in a sec. Let me get my glasses. And okay, here we go. The shout out goes to Brett Fiorentino. And he goes, I wish we made a move in the offseason to bring in a Matthew Tkachuk. I love how he and his brother play the game. The edge they play with, as in they never take a shift off, even in the All-Star game. Laugh out loud. Yes. Yeah. This is somebody that I was targeting with Jack Eichel. Brett, I was actually targeting him. I was hoping the Sabres would get him. Remember that rumor, guys, that Kevin Weeks put out that we were going to get all sorts of stuff with Matthew Tkachuk from Calgary? Remember that? And Calgary fans, what were they saying then? Oh, we're never trading Tkachuk. And I had the same argument with Canuck fans in the offseason when I was doing like Besser and Horvat trade talk, and they go, we're never trading them. Never say never, folks. Never say never. Everybody's tradable in this league. Everybody, even Connor McDavid. Everybody can be traded. Everybody. There's no such thing as an untouchable. You might think there is in your own little world, but there's not. Ask Wayne Gretzky. There's no such thing. No. Anything can happen with the right opportunity for another team that they think they can improve their team. Or if you have a general manager stupid enough or an owner stupid enough to do these things, And Oilers management isn't too smart. So not management, sorry, ownership. Nothing against Holland. Ownership. They got all these young guys that were Oilers fans in the 80s owning the team now. And it's like, what are you going to do with that? So anyway, let's keep talking about this. Matthew Tkachuk, I believe that we locked him in today, and his name is Dylan Cozens. I believe he's that type of player, Dylan Cozens. Brett, I do. I think Dylan Cozens has that real nasty side to him, but he's very young. Let's keep in mind, this guy's got years on Cozens, so it's like a few years at that age makes a big difference, And Brady Tkachuk's awesome also. They're both awesome. These guys are just studs, man. I don't know what their father taught them, but my goodness, they're better than their dad was almost, except their dad was more, I would say more of a goal scorer, yeah. But their dad too played with that same edge, remember? Geez, they're just a really good hockey family, these kids, And I couldn't believe the Canadians passed up on Brady Tkachuk, even during the draft. I couldn't believe they passed up on him for Kotkaniemi. I didn't understand. I thought maybe they knew something I didn't at the time. I was like, wow, okay, and then I asked my friend about this. I go, why did you guys draft this guy? He goes, we need a centerman. I'm like, you never draft what you need at the draft. You draft the best player. You don't draft what you need, because those needs change by the time that player develops anyway. And there's a thing called free agency where you do that. Or do like us. Just take any winger, throw him in the middle, and say, you're our number one center, and all of a sudden you got a 50-goal man. There you go. That's how it's done, NHL. That's how it's done. Ask Granato, ask Adams, they'll tell you. That's how it's done. So we went outside of the normal thinking. It's like this thinking, okay? And this thinking drives me nuts. We need to get a right shot defenseman. No, we don't. No, we just need a steady, good defenseman. A veteran. A right shot makes no difference. You obviously, if you think that, you haven't played competitive hockey. It doesn't make a difference. Trust me in this, it doesn't, guys. You might think it does because you convinced yourself it does. It doesn't. Rasmus Dahlin can play left or right. Don't you believe me? He can. If you get a stud, you got a stud. What's important to me is how talented the player is. Is he a gamer? Because if he's a gamer, he can play left or right. Doesn't matter. Any awesome defenseman can play left or right. He doesn't have to be a right shot defenseman. Doesn't have to be. I played left and right wing also when I played competitive. So I played both, and I'm a right shot. And I played both when I played wing. I played center, and I always played forward. Defenseman wasn't really my thing. I played it, wasn't really my thing. I wasn't bad at it, just wasn't my thing. Wasn't my thing. I was better as a winger, really, I thought. You know, when you look at a stud like this is what I'm saying, like a guy like Matthew Tkachuk who brings it all. He brings it every game, like you said. I do believe that Dylan Cousins is the way. You know what? And I also believe JJ Peterka. JJ Peterka has that thing about being a real pain in the ass when he's out there. I know it's too soon to put that kind of heat on JJ Peterka. I get that. But JJ Peterka has that thing about him also, where when he's having a good night, he's frustrating the other team. You can see it. He goes in the corners. He's a pest. Doesn't stop. Dylan Cousins goes in there, and you got to have your heads up. You know, that's the kind of player he is. Outside of that, we don't have much other nastiness on this team, you know, and a guy like Tkachuk would be welcome with open arms. But how much is he making? This is the thing. What did he get, like 10 million or something? I mean, it's not worth it. It's just not. But I would have done it when we were losing, just to get winning again, you know? But I don't know. You know, if he's making 10, they locked him in long term. I'll tell you, the dumb contract was them locking in Huberdeau over in Calgary. Calgary's out of their minds. They locked him in for $10.5 million. And he's like in his, oh my God, let me just check it. When I see stuff like this, guys, I cringe, because this could be us. We did these things. People say, no, we didn't. Yes, we did. Jeff Skinner, Kyle Okposo. Yes, we did. Yes, we did. We did it too. But we got out of it. You know, one of those contracts is gone now, guys. Look at Calgary. Let me just check Huberdeau, because they signed Kadri for 7 years. Was it 7 years? And he's 32, folks. How does that make sense? How does that make sense? If they miss the playoffs this year, and I think they could, if they miss the playoffs this year, what happens? You know, then you start second guessing all this. Huberdeau, $10.5 million. Yeah, for the full term. Wow. And Huberdeau's 29. And as you can see, he's got 1, 2, 3. He's got, full 8 years, Full 8 years. This is an awful contract. Oh my God. It's not going to age well. And that's why I'm a little happy with Kadri. At least they were smart enough to sign him for 7. You know, but I just want to go to Tkachuk, and we'll wrap this up, guys. It's important. You know, that's why I always bring the money into this, because the money is the important thing in the long run, because that's how much you can spend to make your team try to win a cup. You need to, you know, you can't have these things happen. Tkachuk's making 9.5. It's a lot. He's good. He's really good. You know what I mean? How long did they lock him in? 8 years. 8 full years. 8 years. You know, Matthew Tkachuk, I mean, you know, they got some real studs on that team. We know that. But anyway, yes, we do need players like that, but I think we're developing them. I do think we can maybe try to attempt to get something in the offseason. We'll look at it then. Because if you go and get a guy, look at Matt Martin when we played the Islanders, folks. He was hitting the hell out of us that night. Remember? People say, I don't want Matt Martin. Well, what do you think now after he laid 10 hits and the Sabres had 9 entirely in the whole game, and Matt Martin alone had 10? You know, come on. We've got to get guys like this in the lineup. Just one. And he'd be cheap for a few years. He'd be cheap. Get him, Reeves, and move out Girgensons and Okposo. You know, I'm sorry, but my goodness, guys. Okposo's slow as cold molasses right now. He just is. And we have to think about winning the Stanley Cup, not about taking care of somebody who we've already taken care of. We have to think about winning the Stanley Cup. That's my thinking. I don't care for those Okposo fanatics that think he's worth that money. You're out of your minds. You just are. You have no concept of how to spend to win a Stanley, or you got so scarred by the losing era, you're just not coming out of it. You're staying in it still. Like, we have got to make sure, guys, that every single athlete in our dressing room is geared towards winning a Stanley Cup eventually. And a guy like Matthew Tkachuk, of course, could help that, but $9.5 million that would hurt like crazy. Especially when we're going to sign another guy for about the same money called Rasmus Dahlin. And no, I would not trade Rasmus Dahlin for Matthew Tkachuk. Dahlin's too special of a talent. All right, I'm blabbing. That's it. See you in the next one.
Be sure to like, subscribe, and hit the notification bell to ensure Dimension access.